The Olympics in 1948 were held just after the end of the Second World War. They were held in London. The rowing was held at Henley, over the regatta course. There were over 4,000 people entered from 59 countries. Of course, Germany and Japan were not allowed to enter, and the Soviet Union declined. I remember the best part of the Games was it was the first time they were held on national television. Unfortunately, throughout the war we weren't allowed to train, as many of us were away fighting for our country. When we returned, main training was running 5 miles a day, and leading up to the Olympic Games, we were allowed to do 2 hours a day on the water in our rowing boats. After the Second World War ended, I had a chance to work with a coach, Dan Cordray. He was the first coach who actually encouraged me to work on my technique and improve my rowing stroke. Unfortunately, we weren't subsidised by the government for our training or for the Olympic Games. My family own a boat company, but if I worked for the boat company I would lose my amateur status, which would leave me uneligible for the Olympic Games. I trained as an engineer to try and find another way of earning money so I could subsidise my training. All the equipment we used was actually purchased by myself and my partner. Unfortunately, we were dramatically different in size. He was at least a foot taller than I. We had to do a lot of rigging and re-rigging the boat to try and find a way we could row together with the same start and finish of the stroke. An average day for me would start off by a 5-mile run in the morning, followed by a hasty breakfast and then a quick bus into work. After work I'd like to meet the boys for a few pints, and that was of course unless I had a lady friend to take to the pictures. If I can, I like to try and have a pint of Guinness a day. I always say a pint of the black stuff is as good as an aspirin to help lower the risk of heart disease and heart attacks. Training leading up to the Games was very difficult, especially since a lot of food was still rationed. Our eggs were still powdered and we didn't have a lot of meat. Luckily enough, jam had just been taken off the ration list, so we had as much bread and jam as we'd like. At the end of racing there was a massive celebration held in Henley. Unfortunately we were still under rationing. Many of the other countries complained, especially the Americans, because of the lack of spread. One of the most notable things at the Games was that a lot of other countries didn't have to deal with the rationing that we did, so it was always good to try and invite a few of them over. They could bring a bit of extra food with them. Other than that, we had to rely on friends and family to give us a bit of extra of theirs.